She wasn't the girl he was supposed to meet, yet she was the only one his heart refused to let go. Like and subscribe to Inspiration Stories Box for more life-changing stories. Arham Malik, a 34-year-old CEO known for his brilliance, discipline, and cold exterior, had finally agreed to something he never imagined: a blind date. His best friend, Zain, had insisted for weeks, claiming that Arham needed a life outside spreadsheets and boardrooms. And after months of emotional exhaustion and lonely late nights in his glass office, Arham finally caved. The restaurant was warm, dimly lit, and filled with soft violin music. Nothing like the sterile, fast-paced world he lived in. He sat at the reserved table by the window, loosening his tie as he waited. His heart beat faster than usual, though he would never admit it. Then she walked in. Not gracefully, not dressed like someone on a date, rather in a simple blue kurti, a messy bun, and nervous eyes scanning the room as if she didn't belong there. She finally approached his table with hesitant steps. "Are you Arham?" she asked softly. He nodded, surprised by her shy demeanor. She looked down, took a breath, and said, "I'm not the girl you were supposed to meet." That sentence should have ended everything. Yet Arham felt something he hadn't felt in years, a flicker of curiosity. "Then who were you?" he asked, leaning forward. She swallowed hard. "My name is Mahira. The girl you were supposed to meet, Ayla, is my friend. She asked me to come here because she didn't want to show up. She said CEOs are intimidating, and she panicked, so she begged me to pretend to be her, just long enough to tell you she's not coming." Arham should have been offended, betrayed, annoyed, but instead, he smiled, a real, warm, genuine smile. "So you agreed to take the hit for your friend?" Mahira nodded. She was crying, and I couldn't say no. Arham studied her closely. Her hands were trembling, her voice shaky, her clothes simple, yet she had shown up for someone else. Without caring about how embarrassing or uncomfortable it would be, he found that rare, beautiful, and strangely captivating. "Well, you're here now," he said gently. "Have a seat." Mahira's eyes widened. No, I wasn't supposed to stay. I'm just here to deliver the message." Arham shook his head lightly. "Message delivered. Now stay, unless you're scared of CEOs too." A tiny smile tugged at her lips, but she quickly masked it. "I'm not scared. I just don't fit here." "You fit here more than you think," Arham said softly. Something about his tone made her sit down, hesitantly, cautiously, but she sat. Their conversation started awkward, filled with stutters and pauses, but slowly Mahira began to open up. She told him about her simple life, working as a kindergarten assistant, taking care of her sick mother, spending weekends painting for therapy. She laughed nervously at her own stories, and Arham realized he couldn't stop watching her. She wasn't playing games. She wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't pretending to be someone else. She was simply authentic. And for a man surrounded by masks and lies in the corporate world, her honesty felt like fresh air. "Why did you agree to come?" he finally asked. Mahira looked away. "Because I felt bad for you. I know what rejection feels like. I didn't want you to sit here waiting for someone who'd already made up her mind." That hit him harder than he expected. He had come here because he was tired of being alone, and ironically, the wrong girl had shown up and made him feel seen. Just as Arham began to relax into the evening, a woman rushed into the restaurant, heels clicking, makeup flawless, wearing an expensive red dress. Ayla, the original date. Her eyes widened in shock when she saw them sitting together. "Mahira, what are you doing?" she snapped. Mahira stood instantly, flustered. "Ayla, I was just—" But Arham raised his hand gently. "She was being honest, something you weren't." Ayla's face flushed with embarrassment. "Look, I panicked, okay? CEOs are human," Arham said firmly. "Just human." Ayla blinked, as if that thought had never occurred to her. But before either could speak again, Mahira grabbed her small purse and whispered, "I should go. I never meant to cause trouble." Arham stood too. "Mahira, you didn't cause trouble." But she was already walking out of the restaurant, her steps small and quick, her shoulders shaking, and her eyes flooded with tears. Arham watched as she disappeared into the night, leaving behind a feeling he couldn't shake, a silence he didn't like, and a question he never expected to ask himself. Why did the wrong girl feel so right? Arham couldn't sleep that night. He kept replaying the moment Mahira walked away, the honesty in her eyes, the nervous tremble in her voice, and the grace with which she handled humiliation that wasn't even hers. Ayla had apologized repeatedly, but Arham barely heard her. His mind was somewhere else, somewhere warm, simple, and unexpectedly peaceful. The next morning he found himself standing outside a small school, far away from glass towers and corporate suits. Children's laughter echoed from inside, and the walls were covered with handmade drawings, bright, messy, beautiful. He had found the place through a conversation he wasn't supposed to have, with a girl he wasn't supposed to meet. When Mahira stepped out of the classroom, her eyes widened in shock. "Arham, what are you doing here?" He cleared his throat, suddenly feeling more awkward than he had ever felt in a boardroom. "I came to return something." She blinked. "What?" "Last night I think you took honesty with you when you left." A faint smile broke through her surprise. "You shouldn't be here. This isn't your world." "Maybe that's the problem," Arham replied softly. "My world is all noise and pressure. Yours is real." Mahira looked away, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her dupatta. "You don't have to pretend to be interested, just to make me feel better." "I'm not pretending." She hesitated. "Why did you even come?" Arham exhaled deeply. "Because you walked in last night for someone else. No ego, no agenda, no fear of judgment. You were just yourself. Do you know how rare that is?" For a moment Mahira stood frozen. She had never heard those words directed at her. Not from someone like him. As they walked around the school garden, she spoke about her dreams, opening a small art therapy center for children with anxiety, offering free sessions to underprivileged kids, painting murals that made people feel emotions they hid for years. Arham felt something tug within him. Not pity, not attraction, but respect. Deep, undeniable respect. "Why didn't you tell me all this yesterday?" he asked. She smiled shyly. "Because I didn't think it mattered." "It matters," Arham said firmly. "You matter." Her breath caught. No one had said those words to her before. Not in a way that sounded this genuine. Suddenly, a small child tugged at her clothes, calling her Miss Mahira and wrapping tiny arms around her. She hugged the child with such warmth that Arham felt his heart soften in a way he didn't think was possible. This woman, simple, nervous, honest, was more powerful than anyone he had met in the corporate world. When the school day ended, Mahira and Arham walked out together. She expected him to leave, but he didn't move. "Mahira," he said gently, "do you want to maybe start over? Not as a blind date, not as someone filling in, just you and me." She stared at him, eyes wide, emotions swirling like a storm. "You're a CEO," she whispered. "Your world is different." He smiled. "Maybe I'm tired of my world. Maybe I want something real for once." Tears filled her eyes, not dramatic tears, just soft, overwhelmed ones. "Are you sure?" she asked. "I was never surer," he said, offering his hand. Slowly, hesitantly, she placed her hand in his. Warm, fragile, real. Weeks passed, and what started as an unexpected accident became something neither had anticipated. Arham visited the school often, helping with supplies, funding small projects anonymously so children wouldn't feel indebted. Mahira's mother adored him instantly, and for the first time in years, Arham felt like he belonged to something other than success. One evening, as they stood under the soft glow of street lamps, Mahira whispered, "Sometimes I still feel like I wasn't the girl you were supposed to meet." Arham gently cupped her face, and sometimes the wrong match is the right destiny. She smiled, tears shining in her eyes, and he leaned forward, resting his forehead against hers. In that moment, Arham realized something profound. Life didn't always introduce you to who you want. Sometimes, it introduced you to who you need. And the girl he wasn't supposed to meet became the woman he never wanted to lose. Like and subscribe to Inspiration Stories Box for more emotional, heart-touching stories.